Today, I just wanted to talk to you guys about commonplace books and how helpful they've been to me in my writing journey, how I use them, and I have just a few of my commonplace books that I've been using over the years just to show you. A commonplace book is a book that sort of acts as a catch all for ideas, quotes, research, song lyrics, poems that you like. It really sort of acts as a source of inspiration, but I think it's primarily used as a tool for tracking your learning and research. I was first exposed to the actual term commonplace book in a class that I took called Literature and Psychology. I didn't like it in that class because we had to write our notes on the readings in the commonplace book in addition to any thoughts about the readings that we would have during the process of actually reading them, and then we would get them checked by our professor. And this was in a graduate level class, so I didn't really think that it was necessary. Typically in a graduate level class, we're all trying really hard. We all took out lots of student loans to be here, and so we don't want to fail out of the class. So it just seemed like a way to micromanage myself and my classmates. But it made me realize that I actually do a version of a commonplace book already, and I have been doing it for years. Whenever I start a new project, I tend to start a new commonplace book. And sometimes this commonplace book is a full 5-subject notebook. Sometimes it's a really cute small book that I can keep in my pocket or in my purse. Typically, the commonplace book serves as a place for me to begin drafting and plotting and planning, but it also serves as a place for me to store my research and quick, fleeting ideas that I get when I'm out and about in the world. My commonplace book for Project Girls, which is my current work in progress, had a lot of information about witchcraft, about conjure. It had a lot of information about the legal system, since one of the main characters is a prosecutor. It had some research about acquiring land and the process of actually building structures fit for someone to live in. It had a lot of information about gardening, about farming, about keeping livestock, about fashioning tools out of natural materials. A lot of these things were in my commonplace book for Project Girls because these were research concerns that I had when I was writing the novel, and putting them on the commonplace book gave me a place to store them where I could access them really quickly. Sometimes I organize my commonplace book more like a bullet journal, and so I'll have a place for me to write about something every day or to plan out every day. Sometimes I'll have dedicated pages for things like diary entries, research, brain dumping, but sometimes it's just stream of consciousness and I'm separating ideas or doodles or lists with straight lines or squiggly lines or em dashes or something like that, just to keep things separate. I like to think of it as a scrapbook even. Sometimes I'll go back to old commonplace books that I have and I can look back at my first drafts. I can look back at my initial character profiles. And because of the nature of the creative process, my ideas evolve and shape and reshape themselves throughout the lifespan of a creative project. And so whatever initial draft or character sketch that I had in mind at first inevitably is completely different from the character sketch or idea that the project turns into. And so having a commonplace book like this, or a scrapbook even like this, gives me a starting point for a new project if I want to go back and tweak characters that I didn't use or ideas that I didn't use. I really prefer books like this with spirals, with a hardcover, with lined pages. But I'm also no stranger to books like these that are bound with thread. So I just have like a bunch of notebooks like this and spiral bound notebooks that are just at my disposal. It never fails that when people find out that I am a writer, they try to offload their office supplies on me. And I always appreciate it because I spend way too much money on office supplies. So I love getting them for free. This commonplace book originated as a book for music journalism. So I hope that seeing a couple of my commonplace books have given you ideas for what your commonplace book might look like. Maybe you'll want to keep a small one for a certain project, or just to document some things that you've been thinking. Maybe you want a large one because you think it's something that's really going to be helpful for you. Maybe you want to combine a commonplace book and a planner together, like I did with several of these. I'm not sure, but I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope that the idea of a commonplace book can fit into your creative process.